Hello, everyone. Today we're going to talk about another 10 common idioms, phrases, and sentences that native English speakers use every single day. I'm so excited to share these with you because these are the kinds of expressions you'll hear all the time in real conversations, movies, TV shows, and even at work or school. Here's how you can get the most out of this video. First, listen while reading the subtitles. This will help you catch every word and follow along more easily. Then, play the video again and try to repeat the sentences out loud, but this time without reading the subtitles. This will really help you improve your pronunciation, listening, and speaking skills. Don't forget to pause and write down any new idioms or phrases you like. That way, you can remember and review them later. This is a great way to boost your listening, reading, and speaking, all at the same time. This lesson is a fun and simple way to improve your English step by step. Before we start, I have a small favor to ask. If you find this video helpful, and if you're enjoying these real-life English lessons, please hit that like button. It really helps our channel grow and motivates us to create more content like this, and helps other English learners find our content too. Also, drop a comment. I read every single comment and love hearing from you, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. We create new English learning videos every day, and you won't want to miss them. All right, let's dive in. Number 1, I'm a little peckish. This is such a cute and gentle way to say you're feeling a bit hungry. It's not like you're starving or super hungry, just that you could eat something small. The word peckish comes from the idea of a bird pecking at food, taking small bites here and there. It's a very British expression originally, but now lots of English speakers use it because it sounds so much nicer than just saying I'm hungry. I remember when I first heard this phrase, I was visiting my friend Sarah in London. We were walking around the city all morning, and around noon she said, I'm getting a little peckish. Should we grab a snack? At first, I had no idea what she meant, but from the context, I figured out she was talking about food. For example, you might say, I'm a little peckish. Do you have any crackers? Here's another one. It's only 3 p.m., but I'm feeling peckish. Maybe I'll have an apple. People often say, I'm not really hungry for a full meal, just a little peckish. This is perfect for those times when you don't want to sound too demanding or when you're trying to be polite about food. Have you ever felt peckish in the afternoon? Let me know in the comments what your favorite peckish snack is. Number 2, I've got a lot on my plate. Now, this doesn't mean you have too much food on your dinner plate. This idiom means you're very busy and have many tasks, responsibilities, or problems to deal with. Think of your plate as your life, and all the things you need to do are piled up on it like food. This expression is super common in work situations, but you can use it anywhere. My sister uses this phrase all the time. She's a working mom with 2 kids, and whenever someone asks her to help with something extra, she says, I'd love to help, but I've got a lot on my plate right now with work and the kids' school activities. For example, if your boss asks you to take on a new project, you might say, I've got a lot on my plate this week, but I can probably start it next Monday. You might hear something like, Sorry I can't come to the party. I've got a lot on my plate with finals coming up. Let's take this one. Between my job, my studies, and helping my parents, I really have a lot on my plate. This phrase is so useful because it's a polite way to say you're too busy without listing everything you have to do. Do you ever feel like you have a lot on your plate? What keeps you busiest? Number 3, you've got guts. This is a really cool compliment. When someone says you've got guts, they mean you're brave, courageous, or willing to take risks. It's like saying you have the courage to do something that might be scary or difficult. The word guts here doesn't mean your stomach organs, it means inner strength and bravery. I love this expression because it's casual but really powerful. Last year, my friend Tom quit his boring office job to start his own bakery business. When he told me about it, I said, "Wow, Tom, you've really got guts. That's amazing." It was scary for him to leave a steady job, but he was brave enough to follow his dream. For example, you might say to someone, "You've got guts for speaking up in that meeting." Here's another one. "She's got guts to travel to a foreign country all by herself." People often say, "It takes guts to ask someone out on a date." This phrase is great for encouraging friends or showing respect for someone's courage. You can use it when someone does something brave, takes a risk, or stands up for what they believe in. Have you ever done something that required guts? Tell me about it in the comments. Number 4. Sira. Now this one is really interesting because it's not originally English at all. It's Spanish, and it means, whatever will be, will be. English speakers borrowed this phrase because it perfectly expresses the idea of accepting that some things are out of our control. It's like saying, "I can't change what's going to happen, so I'll just accept it." This phrase became super famous because of an old song called Sira that was sung by Doris Day in the 1950s. Even people who don't speak Spanish know this expression now. My grandmother used to say this all the time when I was worried about something. If I was nervous about a test or a job interview, she'd pat my hand and say, Sira, honey. You've done your best." For example, if you're worried about whether you'll get a job you applied for, you might say, "Well, Sira, I did my best in the interview." You might hear something like, "I don't know if it will rain tomorrow for our picnic, but Sira. Let's take this one. "I'm nervous about moving to a new city, but Sira. It'll work out somehow." This is such a comforting phrase when you're feeling anxious about the future. It helps you let go of worry about things you can't control. Do you have a similar saying in your language? I'd love to hear it in the comments. Number 5. That's not much of a difference. This phrase is perfect for when two things are very similar, and the difference between them is so small that it doesn't really matter. You're basically saying that both options are almost the same, so it doesn't make a big difference which one you choose. I use this phrase a lot when I'm shopping with friends or family. Just last week, I was at the store with my mom looking at two sweaters. One was $25 and the other was $27. I said, "That's not much of a difference. Just get the one you like better." The $2 wasn't enough to worry about. For example, if someone asks you to choose between leaving at 2 p.m. or 2:15 p.m., you might say, "That's not much of a difference to me. Either time works." You might hear something like, "This restaurant has chicken for $12 and fish for $13. That's not much of a difference, so order whatever you want." Here's another one. "She's 28 and he's 30. That's not much of a difference in age." This phrase is super helpful when you want to show that small differences don't matter to you, or when you're trying to help someone make a decision. It's a gentle way of saying both choices are basically equal. When do you think you might use this phrase? Number 6. You're doing great. This is one of the most encouraging things you can say to someone. It's a simple but powerful way to give someone confidence and let them know they're succeeding or improving. You can use this phrase in so many situations, from serious moments to everyday conversations. I hear this phrase everywhere. Teachers say it to students, coaches say it to athletes, friends say it to each other, and parents say it to their kids. What I love about this phrase is how it can completely change someone's mood and give them the motivation to keep going. For example, if your friend is learning to drive and they're nervous, you might say, "Don't worry, you're doing great. You're getting so much better." You might hear something like, "I know this new job feels overwhelming, but you're doing great." Give yourself some credit. Let's take this one. "You're doing great with your English. I can see how much you've improved." This phrase works in professional settings too. If someone gives a presentation and seems nervous, you could tell them afterward, "You're doing great up there." Keep it up. It's such a simple way to be kind and supportive. Who in your life deserves to hear "You're doing great today"? Maybe leave them a comment or send them a message. Number 7, get to the point. Okay, this one can sound a little direct or even rude depending on how you say it, but it's actually very common and useful. It means, stop talking around the subject and tell me what you really want to say. Sometimes people take a long time to explain something when they could just say it simply and quickly. The key with this phrase is your tone. If you say it with a friendly, patient voice, it's fine. If you say it in an angry or impatient way, it might hurt someone's feelings. I usually use this phrase with my close friends and family when they're telling me a really long story, and I need to know the important part quickly. For example, if your friend is telling you a long story about their day and you need to leave soon, you might say gently, "I'm sorry, but I have to go in 5 minutes. Can you get to the point?" You might hear something like, "I don't have time for a long explanation. Just get to the point." Here's another one. Okay, I'll get to the point. I need to borrow your car tomorrow." Sometimes people use this phrase on themselves too, like when they realize they're talking too much. They might say, "Sorry, let me get to the point." It's actually pretty useful in business meetings or when you're giving instructions. Have you ever wanted to tell someone to get to the point? How would you say it politely in your language? Number 8, don't judge a book by its cover. This is one of the most famous idioms in English, and it teaches us a really important life lesson. It means don't form an opinion about someone or something based only on how they look on the outside. You need to get to know them or learn more before you decide what you think. This saying comes from the literal idea that you can't tell if a book is good just by looking at its cover. The cover might be ugly, but the story inside could be amazing. Or the cover might be beautiful, but the story could be boring. The same is true with people, places, and situations. I learned this lesson when I was in college. There was a guy in my class who always looked very serious and unfriendly. He never smiled and always sat alone. I thought he was mean or stuck up. But one day we got paired together for a project, and I discovered he was actually super funny, kind, and just really shy. He became one of my best friends. I definitely judged that book by its cover. For example, you might say, "That restaurant doesn't look very nice from the outside, but don't judge a book by its cover." The food might be amazing. You might hear something like, "I know he seems quiet and boring, but don't judge a book by its cover. Give him a chance." Let's take this one. "The house looks old and rundown, but don't judge a book by its cover. It might be perfect inside." This phrase is perfect for reminding yourself and others to be open-minded and give people and things a fair chance. Can you think of a time when you judged a book by its cover and were wrong? Share your story in the comments. Number 9, he's trying to save face. This phrase is all about protecting your reputation or avoiding embarrassment. When someone is trying to save face, they're trying to maintain their dignity or avoid looking bad in front of other people. It's like they're trying to protect their image or their pride. This expression is really useful because it helps explain why people sometimes act in ways that seem strange or stubborn. Often, when someone makes a mistake or is in an embarrassing situation, they'll do things to try to look better or avoid admitting they were wrong. I saw this happen at work last month. My coworker Jake made a big mistake on a project, but instead of just admitting it and fixing it, he kept making excuses and blaming other people. My friend whispered to me, "He's just trying to save face. He's embarrassed about the mistake." It helped me understand why Jake was acting so defensive. For example, you might say, "She knows she was wrong, but she's trying to save face by arguing with the teacher." You might hear something like, "He doesn't want to apologize because he's trying to save face in front of his friends." Here's another one. "The politician made a bad decision, and now he's trying to save face by changing the subject." This phrase helps you understand human behavior better. Sometimes people do things that seem silly or stubborn, but they're just trying to protect their pride. It's actually pretty normal and human. Have you ever tried to save face in an embarrassing situation? We all have. Number 10. It's been a long time. This is such a warm, friendly phrase that you'll use constantly in English. You say this when you see someone you haven't seen in a while, or when you're talking about something that happened a while ago. It's a perfect way to start a conversation with an old friend or acknowledge that time has passed. What I love about this phrase is how flexible it is. A long time could mean a few months, a few years, or even just a few weeks, depending on the situation. It's more about the feeling that time has passed than about the exact amount of time. Just yesterday, I ran into my high school teacher at the grocery store. The first thing I said was, "Mrs. Johnson, it's been a long time." "How are you?" She smiled so big and said, "It really has, you look so grown up." It was such a nice moment, and this phrase made it easy to start our conversation. For example, when you see an old friend, you might say, "Hey, it's been a long time, how have you been?" You might hear something like, "It's been a long time since I've had pizza this good." Let's take this one. "It's been a long time since we've had a family dinner like this." You can also use this phrase to talk about activities or experiences. Like, "It's been a long time since I went to the movies," or "It's been a long time since I called my grandmother." It's perfect for expressing that you miss something or someone. When was the last time you said, "It's been a long time" to someone? Tell me in the comments. And there we have it. 10 more common idioms, phrases, and sentences that will make your English sound so much more natural and native-like. I hope you found some new favorites today. These expressions are like little treasures that make conversations more interesting and help you connect with English speakers on a deeper level. Remember, the best way to learn these idioms, phrases, and sentences is to practice using them in real conversations. Don't be afraid to try them out. Even if you make a mistake, that's totally okay. That's how we learn. Start with the ones that feel most comfortable to you and gradually add more to your vocabulary. Which of these 10 was your favorite today? Which one do you think you'll use first? And have you heard any of these before in movies, TV shows, or conversations? I'd love to know in the comments below. Your feedback helps me create better lessons for you and other English learners. If this video helped you learn something new, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps our channel grow and helps other English learners find these lessons too. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. We create new English learning videos every single day with practical phrases, idioms, and expressions that you can use right away. Tomorrow, we'll be back with another 10 common phrases that native speakers use all the time. I'm already excited to share them with you. Until then, keep practicing these phrases, keep listening to English, and most importantly, keep believing in yourself. Take care and keep practicing your English. You're doing great, and I'm so proud of how hard you're working to improve. See you tomorrow.